You're an artist and you want to grow your Spotify following. This is a conversation I have a lot as a pro audio engineer. I find myself multiple times a day, like today, having this conversation with artists. They know that their song is amazing, they love it, but when they drop it, it has almost zero views, or really they just don't know the procedure of the best way to roll out their song and the best sort of formula for releases. When it comes to growing your Spotify following, I always recommend doing four things. There are four major things. The first one, pitch your song to the playlist. Set up your Spotify for Artists account, pitch your song to the playlist. We'll go more in depth on that. The second one, get pre-saves. Get everybody you know to pre-save it. Do 10 pieces of content to build up pre-saves. The more you pre-save it, the more Spotify recognizes that it's a song that it should be pushing to others. Those are both free at this point too. You haven't spent a dime. You've just spent your time and energy and creativity. The third way, which is paid, it could also be free, but it's for sure be more effective paid, is targeting the playlist you want to be on. If you trust a third party to do this, like somebody in your Instagram DM saying, pay me $50 to be on this playlist, that's for sure a scam. Even the third party services that seem legit and that they're going to help you land on all these playlists, whenever you pay a third party to do that, they're for sure pocketing half of the money and then basically buying fake streams with the rest of the money, which is not what you want to do. The method that I'm saying to do is to target the specific playlists for you as an artist so that your song is reaching real followers in your target market. You do this by being objective, realizing what type beat you're rapping on, what style you fit in, and then you search the artist's name on Spotify. I believe you have to use the desktop version. I don't think it works on mobile devices. It has to be on a desktop. But there's the Discovered On section on Spotify. Every artist has one. And what the Discovered On section is, it shows you the playlist from the last 28 days that generated the most streams for that artist. It's the playlist that helped them the most in the last 28 days. So you know that these playlists are, one, generating streams, and they have your target audience listening to it. When you go down the list, you'll notice some have the Spotify logo in the top corner. That's why you pitch it to the playlists in step one, because that's the official way to get it on the official Spotify playlist. From what I've seen, all the third parties offering to get you on the Spotify playlists are scams. When you're looking at the Discovered On section, you'll see the ones ran by Spotify, and then you'll see other ones that are independently curated playlists. A lot of the times you'll see an Instagram handle or a Gmail or some type of contact info in it, or you'll see a brand name with a brand logo that you can quickly Google or search on Instagram and track down. But this is the process that you need to do to really tailor these playlists to you as an artist. When you use a third party to do this, they're more worried about you paying them $50, and then they're going to throw your playlist into a lump of other playlists, because there's little chance that they're going to listen to your song and know your style the way you do, because most of the time you're paying somebody that's not even in the music scene, let alone the country, let alone the same language or culture. The more you do this for yourself, the better. If you go through the Discovered On section and get 100 different emails, when you run out of playlists in one person's Discovered On, go to their similar artist. Even if you don't know that artist, it's Spotify telling you who to work with. So you go through their Discovered On sections. If you can get a list of 100 of these, at the very least, you could send them your pre-save content from step 2 for free, so that they see your music and they see a face to your music, because most of the time they're getting sent tracks that has no face to it or video to it, where you could sort of get an edge that way, or actually make a connection with the curator, because a lot of the times they're normal people. They have like 200 Instagram followers and will message you back. But more than likely you're going to have to negotiate some prices. If they say 100 or 50, you say 10, 15, because you can gauge it by how many likes the playlist has. You make sure that the playlist is actually generating streams. and then you multiply those streams by 0.004, and that's approximately how much you'll make from a Spotify stream. If you know you're only going to make $30 if it gets everybody on the playlist, which is in a way unlikely, but if you know it's only going to do that, then you can't pay them $100. You got to negotiate that price lower and sort of play that game. That way, when you're paying less, you can get on more playlists too. The benefit of doing this, not only do the streams pay you royalties through your DistroKid or CD Baby or TuneCore where you drop the music, it also pays you royalties through BMI, and it's a business expense because you're paying for promotion. So if you keep track of your expenses, you could end up getting money back at the end of the year too from this exposure in streams and growing your following, because unlike all those other services, you're actually reaching a target market. You're reaching the most likely potential fan, because these are the playlists that help the similar artists that you hand pick in a way, which the other playlists, when they submit you to hot summer songs, they're throwing a million songs into a pool of a billion songs, and they're for sure gonna get lost in the sauce. But when you do this mixed with some of those other methods, like there's sites like dailyplaylist.com where you get 25 free submissions a month to different playlists. It's free, so there's really no harm in trying. And if you mix that with what we were talking about of targeting playlists on Spotify through the Discovered On section, then you can really narrow down the playlist you want to be on. And it's the same thing. You're not just lumping yourself into these pools of a billion songs where you're for sure going to get lost, because you do have to differentiate and you do have to find ways to stand out from the crowd. And that's true even with the pitching to the playlist. When you pitch your song to the playlist, you have to make sure that you, in a way, stand out too. You don't want to say the same thing that everybody else says, and you have to be able to narrow down your song, because the more you can narrow it down to a target market, the more you can convert those sales and get streams and really reach the people that want to hear your music. There are just too many songs being submitted in too many genres in too many countries for your song to not be narrowed down to your target market. That's basics of marketing. Step 4 is taking your best content and promoting that instead of promoting everything and trying to force an ad to be relevant. When you're doing step 2 of getting pre-saves for your song and making 10 pieces of content, by posting that much, you'll see which content does better. When you post to YouTube Shorts, you'll see a video gets 10K views instead of 10 views. If you promote that video because it does better, because people like to watch that video more, it'll help promote your brand, and you can keep track of the funds better. Because if you're just spending money on every single post you make, it's going to be a black hole and you're not really going to see what stands out. But if you take the best organic ones, it'll help you grow your YouTube or Instagram. But it's also true with Spotify, because if you're dropping a song a week or a song every 2 weeks, pitching each one to the playlist, getting pre-saves, and doing all that you can do that way, you'll see which songs have a better reception and do better. And then you can put money behind that too. It's sort of like trying different things, seeing what works, and doubling down on what's working. Also, when it comes to growing on Spotify, basically all this has to be done before the song's out. It's all about setting the release date out. You have to set the release date out a minimum of 1 week to be able to pitch it to the playlist. But really, it's longer than that, because when you put it on DistroKid, it takes a full day to be on your Spotify for Artist account, and then you need a full week from there to pitch it. But you also want to be building the pre-saves during this time and making sure, that you have time to hit up all these different playlists, because it does take time. Once you get one email list, you don't have to remake your email list, so you can be efficient about it and have it ready to go for each song. That's definitely the best way to do it. But all of this is in a way a surefire way to boost your numbers, especially the monthly listener number, which the monthly listener number is the most fugazi number. It really doesn't mean anything, but that's the number that people see. and it's the most easy to manipulate. With any type of budget, if you get on some of these playlists, you're for sure going to boost your monthly listeners. And if you're getting pre-saves and pitching it to the playlist, Spotify is going to help you push it through the algorithm and you'll get more streams, boosting your monthly listeners. And once you can show 10K or 20K monthly listeners, it opens the door to different possibilities of being able to level up and multiply that. One way would be to sell features. A lot of artists make most of their bag by selling features. And you could be proactive about this. Say you get 20K monthly listeners as soon as the song drops by getting on these playlists, doing the 4 things we were talking about. If you have 20K monthly listeners, you could hit up a bunch of artists on IG that have next to none monthly listeners, sell your feature to them, do a deal this week only, $200 instead of $500, lock in now. You could run up features that way. A lot of artists do. I'm just explaining the game. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. Or a sort of clever way to do that without quantity, but more quality would be, once you get to 20K monthly listeners, you'll see your own similar artist section. So when you go to your own Spotify, you'll see the similar artist to you, the other artists with 20K followers that are right in your lane. You hit them up, maybe hit up the one that has 15K monthly listeners. You have more monthly listeners and you hit them up saying, let's collab. It'll be great for both of our numbers. I like it. He likes it. You make a track. But the thing is, you didn't just hit him up. You hit a bunch of other people up too. And you got another person down for the free collab that also has 15K monthly listeners. So you have 20K monthly listeners. The first song comes out with the other person with 15K monthly listeners. You do it as a primary release, so it's your song and their song. Now you have 35K monthly listeners. And then the second song comes out in the same month. You're doing this week after week after week, making sure you pitch each one, but all that can happen within 1 week. So then now your monthly listeners is 20 plus 15 plus the other 15, which is a whopping 50K. And as soon as your monthly listeners is at 50K, you can sort of rinse and repeat that cycle. And it sounds sort of crazy, and I understand like you don't want to fake it, but none of these methods are buying fake streams. You're not just buying fake numbers and flexing on it. You're really growing your audience and followers at the same time. And by selling features, you grow your audience in a real way, because each person's going to tell at least 5 people that they got a song with you. You're probably going to pick up extra IG followers. And also, when you make the quality ones, those artists are doing their thing because they have hopefully real followers and real production behind it, and they're making money through their music. So they're probably treating it more professionally than just your friend would. So you'd probably end up creating more quality music anyway. But to have 50K to 100K monthly listeners means that you are generating money. And if you're set up to collect all that money, whether it be through features, through BMI, through Song Trust, Sound Exchange, through using your Instagram, through monetizing the content, through making content about your streaming, you help sell more and to really keep the ball rolling. When you're generating revenue and keeping track of your expenses for a tax write-off, you're really treating it like a business. And then that's where a label or the big machine, major label distribution, that's where they would want to help you out. And you might get $1 million loan advance from somebody like that, or you might be able to get it through a bank because you can show that you are making money and you're doing it the right way and you're paying taxes and all that, because really it's benefiting you. All right, I've thrown a lot at you. The 4 main things: pitch your song to the playlist for free, the official way, through your Spotify for Artist account. Number 2, get pre-saves. Get your family to do them. Make 10 pieces of content for each release. Different content too. I'm not just saying do the same thing over and over and over again. The third one, target the playlist you want to be on by using the Discovered On section. Don't just trust a third party to do so. If you do the method we were talking about of going through different discovered on sections, you can make your own email list of targeted, independently curated playlist curators. Number 4, only run ads on the content that works. Don't just run ads on every IG post or on every song that you drop. Drop a lot of content, try different things, see what works, and double down on that. If you do all 4 of those, you will grow, and then other opportunities will arise that you'll have to maneuver through the game so you can parlay your brand value up and up and up until you are the first trillionaire in the music industry. Thank you very much. I'm a professional audio engineer. I don't know how accurate this advice is, but it is very true to my experience, and you have had the lecture that I give to most artists. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. I'm down to help you get a personalized game plan, and I'm not charging like the other people yet. Peace.